Hi everyone, hope you are doing good and welcome back to the channel. So, in the previous videos, we try to understand what is data engineering from decision making point of view and what data engineering is all about. And we also try to understand the data engineering life cycle and the various stages involved in it, like from data generation to ingestion, transformation, and serving, and then storing the data, and also, of course, providing the data to the consumers, which are business people, or it can be data scientists, or it can be your organization unit, or it can be anyone. And also, we try to understand the various undercurrents, which are basically data architecture or security, and then data ops and orchestration and software engineering and various other things. So, in today's video, we'll try to understand what are the skills one actually need to be a data engineer, not just a normal data engineer, but to be like better, good data engineer. And and honestly, if you ask me, many people are actually super confused, even though like data engineering is one of the fastest growing fields in the world right now. But many people are like really, really confused about what does it take to be a like good data engineer. And because the confusion also arises from like not having some kind of courses or something in university because like if you go to the university, right, like you can find courses about like software engineering or computer science engineering or basically construction engineering, civil engineering, or history or arts or whatever. But most of the universities are actually not really offering the like in-depth courses about or curriculum about like data engineering. So some of the universities do have courses on data science, on data analytics, for example, but none of them are really concentrated, or none of them are really focused towards data engineering. So part of the confusion also arises from there. Um, and then, of course, like there are some kind of courses and boot camps available in the internet, but again, none of them like really explain about the fundamentals. They explain, or they mainly talk about the tools and technology. So we need Kafka, we need Spark streaming, or we need PySpark, or we need Python, or we need Polars at the DB or Airflow, whatever. So most of them focuses on the technologies, but many of the courses unfortunately ignore the fact that what data engineering is all about. Many of the courses ignores the fact that ignores the fundamental fact that that data engineering is actually all about making the data useful to the consumers, right? Um, so let's try to understand what are the skills one actually need to be a like data engineer, not just the normal one, actually to be to be like really really good data engineer. Okay, let's try to understand that. So again, so if we have to understand the skills as well, again, we need to have, the definition of data engineering, and then the life cycle of data engineering always on top of our minds. Okay. So that's really important. And then, you know what? Let's actually try to draw the life cycle again one more time. And then let's try to look at the skills from that point of view. Okay. So, uh, yeah, I'm not going to draw the pretty diagram, like, but yeah, let's try to keep it concise and see what we can do. So, sorry. So first we'll draw some kind of boxes, and then we'll try to basically, yeah, uh, fill in those boxes, right? So this box for probably for data sources or data generation, and probably one for ingestion as well, and then one for storage as well, and then one for uh, this is for transformation, and then this can be for serving, and then there will be probably the storage which is underneath all this, and then these all will be basically grouped in. Um, Sorry for that. So these all will be grouped in, and then yeah, and then here we'll have undercurrents, uh, and then of course we'll try to write what are the undercurrents. Just bear with me for like a minute or two. Um, and then yeah, and then actually here at the end we can put a place for consumers. So and that consumers will try to write all the consumers there. So there's a space for consumers, guys. So now let's try to fill in these boxes. Okay. So yeah. So um, so I think I what I probably did was I tried to write something here, but then I forgot to erase it. Sorry for that. But yeah. So let's try to do this. So this is the place where data sources will be there. Okay, this is the place where data is getting generated, and then this is basically ingestion, transformation. Okay, and then this whole big box is storage, and then this is serving. And then obviously serving to whom, like from serve, like there will be many people who will use the data, and then that is through reports, or dashboards, or analytics, or machine learning, or even AI, or you know what, or even like reverse ETL. Don't worry if you don't understand what this means. We'll of course like touch up on this little bit. There is I also made like one completely dedicated video talking about only the life cycle. So this video is mainly focused on skills, but we still need to look at the skills from life cycle perspectives, and then where the skills fit in the life cycle. So that's why I'm drawing the life cycle again, and then. Here we have you know um, here we have undercurrents. Undercurrents again. For those who don't know, undercurrents are something um, which are a little bit hidden beneath the underneath the data engineering life cycle, but are like really important. And then for any data pipeline to be successful, these undercurrents play like huge role. So yeah, let's try to see what are they. One is security, okay, and one is data management, and one more is data ops, and again there is orchestration, and the last one is software engineering. Okay. So this is the life cycle, right? So now let's see what are the actual skills needed. Okay. So and basically what we should do is we should probably like categorize the skills into like two categories. One is from business perspective, and one more is from tech perspective, right? Because see, at the end of the day, whatever we are trying to do is what we are trying to do is actually we are trying to deliver value to the customers, deliver value to the business people, deliver value to the companies, right? Um, and we also talked about like what data engineering is all about. So data engineering is all about taking that raw data from sources and then trying to convert it into useful data, right? Okay, useful data for business people or for companies or anyone basically who are in a position to take decisions that can impact the company performance or profits or product performances or optimized processes or stuff like that, right? So yeah, so this life cycle and the purpose of data engineering, it should be like literally on top of our mind every time. Okay, always it should be on top of our mind always. We should not forget it at all. So whatever the skills or whatever the background we are going to discuss um, is is only matters. All the technology and everything matters as long as we are delivering value to the customer. Okay, and we can be using like the nicest and fanciest technologies, but if they are not delivering value to the business people or to the companies, then those are like not really useful, I would say. So let's understand it. Okay, so yeah, so if we talk about skills again, um, so we will try to divide these skills into business side, or we will say like business side of skills, and then our business responsibilities or tech skills. Unfortunately, what many people do is they will ignore the business skills, even though they are like really important. But you should not ignore them at all, okay? Because at the end of the day, I'm saying it again and again and again. At the end of the day, we are trying to deliver value to the business, okay? And then, of course, we have tech skills. We are going to discuss them because we think that we need tech skills to deliver value to business. Okay, so that is why we are going to learn, or we are learning this tech skills, or we should know these tech skills to deliver value to business people. Okay, let's try to decode what it is all about. So basically, from business perspective, if you ask me, okay, let's go here again. So, in this, basically in this entire life cycle, okay, in this entire life cycle, this is the place, okay, mainly where business sits. This is the place where they are getting some kind of useful data. Okay, so that place is this. Okay. But if you want to like literally understand what is useful data for business people, you need to obviously know business. What is business? For example, if you are working in some banking company or some e-commerce company or some supply chain or logistics or something else, you should of course know business, right? You should, of course, know business. You should have like thorough understanding of business, or whatever your team is focusing on. So you should of course know that. So so the first important skill I'm going to add here is, so one should have proper understanding of domain or business. Okay, this is really important. Okay, but you might ask me, but Harsha, like we will be changing companies every now and then. So in that case, do we need to know like entire company's business like that is built over like probably like years? Do we really need to know all of it? No, you don't need to know all of it. But probably like whenever you join any company, you'll probably going to join in particular team, right? Um, and then your team will be placed in certain part of the organization. So you kind of need to understand where your team stands in the entire organization, and you need to understand you need to more or less understand the business of the entire company, and also how your team, the team you're probably working in right now at that point, you need to know you where your team is contributing to which part of the total business of the company. So you need to obviously understand business in that sense. You need to of course have like holistic view, and then you also need to have like deep understanding of the um, team, like where you are placed or where you are working. So you need to have that proper understanding of domain or business. Okay, and then and then and then and then we are talking about like we want to provide value to business people, right, or companies. So we need to so first important skill is you need to have proper understanding of domain or business, and then you need to also kind of know what is useful or what is really important for business people to make good decisions. Okay, and how will you know that? Basically by communicating with them. Okay, so you need to have good communication skills. Okay, uh, but don't get me wrong. When I say communication skills, it's not just about like being extroverted or stuff like that. Okay, it's actually about like communicating to you are like data engineer, or data engineering is basically kind of tech related field, right? So we are techies. Um, like if I say go and talk to that particular tech guy or particular data engineer or particular data analyst or data scientist, you can obviously like you will be able to communicate in technical terms, but then you should kind of master the skill of communicating to non-tech people. Okay, so whenever I say communication skills here, it's mainly also I'm referring to non-tech people. Okay, which are who are business people, right? So you need to know how to actually talk to them, and then uh, um, understand what's really useful for them, and then you need to kind of understand what are the issues they are facing. So by being said that, let's move on to next set of skills on business side. So of course you need to know how to gather requirements. Okay, gathering requirements is really important, because if you don't know what is requirement, what business people are expecting, or what kind of problems they are facing, and what kind of data points they are expecting, so that they can make better decisions. um, so you need to like really know how to gather requirements. So And so that there are like various methods to gather requirements. One thing is basically once you know business and once you have communication skills to talk to non-tech people in kind of like their language, which is business language. And then if you have, for example, also skill of asking uh, right questions, then then you kind of will be able to figure out your way of gathering requirements properly. Okay, so that's also one of the most important but often overlooked skills. And then the other is again problem solving mindset. Okay, so now um I'm using the word problem solving mindset. So what does it mean by problem solving mindset here? So what I mean is, for example, if you want to really make data useful to some people, to business people, um, you need to know what kind of problems they are facing, right? Basically, yeah, for example, what kind of problems they are facing while making the decision. Okay, what are the hurdles they currently have in order to make better decisions? You need to really know that, and then you need to really know that, and then you kind of need to approach it from problem solving mindset. Okay, rather than only, oh, we can use this technology or we can use that technology. That comes later. But then but then you really need to know, understand their problem, and then think of how to solve it. Okay, so so that's also one of the most important skills. And you know what? Honestly, these all are like kind of interlinked. So one complements other. So like you need to kind of master all these skills over time. But to be honest, I'll be like completely honest with you. Now I have like around 8 years of experience in data engineering, and I've been working in different locations. But I'll be quite literally honest. Even I didn't mastered all these skills till now. Okay, it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, and a lot of self control and a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm just saying these are the skills one need to have. Okay, from business perspective, and then we'll move on to next skill. Okay, which is cost control. So what do I mean by cost control here? So what I mean by cost control is, um, so you should always deliver more value to the business than they are paying the price for. For example, if they are paying you like, you know, 50 rupees, you should at least try to deliver 55 value to them. Okay. Otherwise, otherwise it won't be sustainable in a long run, right? So so of course, like you are doing all these, you are acquiring all these skills like to be useful for the business and then to be useful for companies, to increase their revenue or to improve their profits or optimize their performance of the products or processes, whatever. But then, as long as the resultant decisions they are making, if they are not delivering enough value, then whatever the cost, then somewhere it doesn't make sense. So we kind of always need to optimize for costs. So that's also one of the most important skill one need to have. And then I'm going to talk about the final and the most important skill. It's also kind of like in a way it's a mindset one need to have, um, and that is continuous learning. Okay, so Any field, it can be like most of the fields, and even data engineering, it's like rapidly changing, it's evolving like day by day, literally, quite literally. There's so much stuff which is coming into the market every day, and then there are so much stuff like data engineering field is acquiring from, are taking inspiration from software engineering. Um, but if we actually are not focusing on improving our skills and not focusing on learning continuously, um, then then we might fall behind in a way. In a way, I'm not saying you should go in a rat race and try to learn all these different technology, but I'm saying that you should have a continual learning mindset. In order for you to like, or for us to like continuously deliver value to the, you know, customers or people or business people, or companies. And that's what um, this is all about. And then come on, and then I'm not talking about it as a skill here. Of course, like you need to kind of love it. You need to have the passion for, data engineering or engineering in general. Come on, it's fun. If you don't enjoy it, probably this might not be the right profession for you. Um, and then let's talk about the tech skills. Okay, I'm sure like many of you will be waiting for this part, but yeah, let's start with the tech skills. Um, so again, I'm going back to this part here. When we talk about tech skills, so look at here. So so here data is getting generated. Okay. And then in this phase, we will be probably connecting to data sources, or they will be pushing the files to us. But in ingestion, what we'll do is we'll take the source data, whatever it got generated, whatever the raw data got generated, and then we'll kind of load it into storage, or we'll basically transform it and then load it into storage, right? So if we mainly see from ingestion perspective, okay. Um, so we if we mainly see from ingestion perspective, we kind of want to load the data from data sources into storage, or transform it and then load it into storage, right? So we kind of need to have some kind of connectors to connect to APIs or databases, and then read the data, and then process it, um, and then kind of load it into storage, right? So of course, the skills vary, depending on what kind of vendor and what kind of platform you are using. But I'm talking about the most generic and most basic skills one for sure need to have. Okay, it's like non-compromisable skills one need to have. Okay, so here, here it can be, for example, I would say it can be Python. Okay. uh, for transformation as well, it should be Python. And then when we say storage, so we will most of the time talk about like some kind of databases like RDBMS and Lakehouse, Warehouse, or some object storages like maybe S3 bucket or ADLS, or maybe like any kind of storages, right? So for most of the storages part, um, if you want to like really read the data and then do some kind of small analytics or any kind of analytics on it, one of the one of also the most used skill or technology wise is SQL. Okay, so you need to have like SQL fundamentals and good knowledge of SQL, um, and then yeah, so that's also one important skill. And then if you talk about serve, serving the data, so here we'll we won't talk like a language or programming language or query language or framework or tool or technology. But here you kind of need to know you know your data modeling. Okay. Uh, it doesn't, it matters, but yeah, it can be Kimball or it can be OBT or stuff like that. Um, and then in this phase, maybe I'll hold on to it a little bit and then explain it in the next page. I'm just giving you like, explaining the surface, but we'll go into the detail, don't worry. And then somewhere here, you kind of need to have knowledge of, semantic layer, how to present the data and then make relationships and all that stuff. And then you need to have some kind of knowledge on reporting or dashboarding tools, and that can be, I don't know, Power BI or which is also called as like Microsoft Fabric nowadays. Um, and then it can be any tools like Tableau or Meltano or Looker or anything. And then maybe you can also have your analytics. Here primarily again many people use SQL again, and then if you want to have like machine learning knowledge as well, then you need to know machine learning fundamentals. But then if you talk about like tool or technology, right there, you probably will use like Python for this. Yeah, or Python or like various like different libraries which are available in Python. Like it can be SciPy, scikit-learn, or PyTorch, or Pandas, NumPy, and all the different stuff. And then it can even be AI as well, and it can be reverse ETL. And then um, these are a little bit. This is just a little bit stuff. I'll try to kind of outline the same in the next page here. So, so some of the mandatory skills, if we talk about some of the mandatory skills you really need to have is basically Python, and then SQL. Um, you know, I know I said Python here, and then many people, also call it second best language in the world. Okay, don't ask me what's first one. I don't want to deviate the topic again. But yeah, Python, because it has various different libraries available, or various different APIs available. Um, so that opens a like gateway to different tools and technologies that are needed for data engineering or data analysis or data scientist world. We'll talk about them in a while, but yeah, those are it. And then SQL is also one of the most important skill you need to have. And then um, you also need to actually have some JVM based Java Virtual Machine based languages, right? Um, okay, when I say Java JVM languages, what do I mean by JVM languages? You might get that doubt. So here I mean Java, and then maybe Scala, something like that. Um, yeah, those kind of languages as well. And then if you ask me why, because because here for data ingestion, for data transformation, nowadays many people actually use some framework which is called PySpark or Spark in general. So PySpark is just it's just offering of Spark. So And the Spark is actually underneath. It's developed using the JVM languages. So it is expected that it is kind of expected that you also need to know one JVM language, and then that's good. And honestly, if you ask me, like nowadays, even if you don't really understand JVM languages, or even if you don't really know, that's still fine. But you could actually get away with Python and SQL for most part, and one BI tool. Um, but yeah, it would really help you if you know one of the JVM languages. And then actually for serve part, or also for data sources part. Okay. Um, you kind of need to know you know a little bit. It's good if you know a lot. You kind of need to also know about data modeling. And then when I talk about like data modeling, you need to know about star schema or Kimball modeling. Okay. Or I don't know, OBT or Inmon or data vault. There are a lot of modeling techniques available, which are for different purposes and various use cases. Um, let's not get into that detail. But then also, like underneath all these modeling concepts, you actually really need to understand one base important concept, um, which is normalization and denormalization. Okay. So, yeah, so you need to really know this. Okay. And then I'll probably add one more to this list, which is 3NF. Okay. So yeah, you need to also a little bit know about the data modeling, and then you kind of need to know which data modeling is used for. If you are going with the layered approach, you need to kind of understand which kind of models can be, or which kind of data modeling can be used for which of the layers or which of the components in your data architecture. Yeah. And then moving um, on the data side itself, you also need to know like basics like cap theorem and stuff like that. Yeah. And then, of course, you need to have a little bit understanding of Bash scripting as well. This can be used for probably whenever you are doing like OS operations, like operating system operations, or maybe even for automation in various different places. So you need to have. It's really nice if you have like a little bit idea of Bash as well. And then, of course. Here, I talked a little bit about Python, right? Python is really important, and then it's like I told, it's like the middle layer. It opens up like a whole new different world, um, and then if you talk about like what kind of different world Python opens up, so 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 it can be like uh, it can be PySpark for like large data, huge data volumes, and then you can use polars or pandas or like all these different etc etc. A lot of things. It opens up a world to like all these different libraries and offerings that will be like really nice to know. So that's why you really need to know Python. That would be nice. And then, of course, like you also need to know basics of you know distributed computing. We will, of course, talk about distributed computing in our coming videos. Yeah, and all that master-slave architecture and all that rack awareness and different kinds of availability and all that stuff. But yeah, so you also need to. It's actually nice if you know a little bit about distributed computing. That's really nice. Yeah. So these are some of the skills I would say like mandatory. You for sure need to know, and they will get you like so far ahead. And then till now, if you observed, we talked from business skills perspective and tech skills perspective. But even when we talked about tech skills, we actually talked about tech skills from life cycle above perspective. But we also ignored undercurrents, right? So let's talk like what kind of skills you need from undercurrents perspective. Um, And then the skills I'm going to talk about from undercurrents perspective, they're not like super mandatory to know, but then they will make you stand out if you know them. And then you are kind of expected to have basic understanding of them as well. So it's really nice to know. So let's put it that way. And then when we talk about like security, you should have a basic understanding of, for example, security in the sense you need to know like how to store and transmit your data securely, and then you need to also so. Uh, you also need to ensure that right people have right accesses and stuff like that. You kind of need to know what is authentication from security perspective, and then what is authorization, and then what is, for example, what does encryption means, why you need encryption, and then what does masking and tokenization means. Okay, so you don't, honestly, like you don't really need to know have like too much understanding of all these concepts, but you need to have some kind of understanding, or you kind of need to know like what does they even mean. So that would be nice. And then you need to know what is RBAC, or row level security, and then column level security, and object level security, and all that stuff. And then it would also be nice if you know a little bit about like user management as well. So security is again like different ball game, guys. But I'm not saying you should literally know like entire security by yourself. In many of the companies I've been, there are like different, like completely total different security teams and different crazy security setups. But it's always nice if you have. A little bit understanding of what security means and what all these different terms mean, so that you can communicate to different people and ensure that you will always you are always like compliant and following like best practices and all that stuff. Yeah. And then when we talk about from like data management perspective, oh sorry, I haven't talked about like what kind of tools we use for security. It depends on different vendor implementations. It can be IAM roles, or it can be in Microsoft. It can be Entra, or there are various different tools. But but then no one is actually expected you to have all expected you to know all the different tools. But it's really good if you know um, the concepts, and then if you know one tool, probably even if you don't know one tool, that's totally fine. Even I would say that. And then if you see from data management, what kind of skills you need to know what is cataloging means, and then you need to know what does lineage means, and then what kind of DQ checks, data quality checks one can do, and data quality is like really, really important. You know what? I'm going to put data quality into this list. Okay. So yeah, you need to know that, and then you need to know when to archive data. So you need to know a little bit about archive or retention policies or rules. And then moving on to data ops, you kind of need to know a little bit about, DevOps. Um, uh, Basically CI/CD, and then what you need to know what is CI/CD, what is DevOps, and then what's a DevOps culture, and all that stuff. And then I'll also put Agile here, and then deployment strategies. What kind of deployment strategies available? I don't know, blue, green, or canary, or etc. But you need to have a little bit understanding of DevOps. That would be nice. But again, guys, I'm telling you again, you are not expected to know each and every single thing. But then, if you really know all these things, like you'd be like master data engineer. So so see, so what we are talking is we are talking we are talking about skills needed to be not just a data engineer. We're talking about like good data engineer, or the best data engineer. So, and no one really knows like all these different skills we are talking about here. Um, so don't worry, and don't get overwhelmed. It's completely okay. But it would be really nice if you know these skills from business side, and then Python, SQL, JVM language, and data modeling. So this will get you to like this will make you get the job done like in most cases, trust me. So and then coming back to where we were, and then talking about orchestration, you need to know what is scheduling. Okay. And then you need to kind of also know about a little bit about, for example, dependencies, all that stuff. And then tools here can be, for example, nowadays, code first approach tools like Airflow, and Daxter, and Prefect, or there are a lot, Luigi, or there are a lot. So, and then my most favorite one, and then you are literally you should literally need to have some software engineering skills at least. So, and that's why I'm going to add those skills here. So you need to know how to write clean, okay, modular, reusable, testable, or untested code. So you really need to know that, okay? So this is really important. And then of course you also need to know, again, from software engineering perspective, you also need to know some of the design patterns, and how to organize your code in a better way. Okay. Um, and why I'm saying how to organize our design, actually, design is the right word. Okay. Design your code base in a better way is um, so basically, some of the, some of the architectures or concepts related to this particular part, what they preach or what they say is, for example, there will be some business logic, uh, and then if you kind of make your business logic like fully coupled, with all these different tools or technologies, you are basically getting locked yourself into that, and then you can't really, and then what happens is, um, the change in the the tools and technologies, or the outer layers will also change your business logic, and that's not really nice, right? So so you need to know basically how to organize your code in a better way so that the changes in external layers won't affect your the core logic or the domain logic. So you really need to understand that part. Yeah, I would say actually these are some of the skills one need to be like a super nice data engineer. What do you think about these guys? Comment down in the comment section. I'm sure it will be like a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry at all. Just hang in there and then put in the work, and I'm sure you'll be like so fine. So don't really worry about all these different things, but then focus on Python, focus on SQL, and then focus on data modeling basics and maybe one processing framework like PySpark or Polars, and then understand basics of distributed computing, and then how to write good code, and then you'll be fine for most part. That's from tech side. And then from business sides, there is no compromise in these guys. Okay. You really need to work on, your business skills here. You need to get proper understanding of domain, and then you need to get or work on your communication skills, especially communicating with non-tech people, business people, and then you need to know how to gather requirements, and then you need to have problem solving mindset and optimize for cost always, and you need to of course continuously learn and then stay hungry and stay passionate. So yeah, this is what this video is all about. Um, but yeah, now we talked about the skills. But then I'm sure many of you might be wondering, oh, but um, he said this is it for the video, but he actually still haven't talked about uh, AWS or Azure or Databricks or Microsoft Fabric or Snowflake or anything. Are those not the skills needed to be like a good data engineer? No. Okay. So yeah, there you go. I said it. So yeah, those are basically not the skills. Those are basically the platforms or the vendor offerings. For you to implement all this data engineering life cycle. Okay. So this this life cycle that we are talking about, this life cycle. Okay, this you can implement it in anywhere. Okay, irrespective of whatever the platform can be like Fabric or AWS or Azure or Snowflake or Databricks, or it can be anything. Okay, but the core idea stays the same. Okay, and honestly, like don't get into all that different vendor offerings and different platforms and different um, all this different stuff, because if you have your basics right, and if you have right skills, right business skills and right tech skills, then basically you can implement this life cycle or this conceptual framework of data engineering lifecycle basically anywhere, irrespective of any platform. Okay. Um, and platform to platform, just the tool name changes, but most of the time you are going to write your code in Python or PySpark, and then you are going to write your SQL queries. You might probably you might not use JVM languages, but underneath Spark, like they will use Scala, Java, and then you are going to model your data using these concepts. Okay, and then yeah, and then you will implement data quality checks, and you will write clean, modular, reusable, testable code irrespective of platform. Okay. So in Databricks, you'll still write code in Python or PySpark. In Microsoft Fabric, you will write code like that. And then, of course, in Snowflake, SQL, and then AWS EMR, Spark, and Python, whatever. So in most of the places, this will get you the job done. And of course, you can argue that one may not need to write the code at all if you go with the managed offerings or SaaS offerings or drag and drop tools or plug and play tools, whatever you call it. Of course, I'm not going to talk about them anytime soon. Many people like them, and I personally don't hate them as well. They are for sure nice for most use cases. But yeah, uh, let's talk about that in the different video. But I would say, if you really want to be good data engineer, irrespective of whatever the platform you're going to work in, these are some of the non-compromisable, or I would say mandatory skills you need to have. Okay, not all of them, but of course, one should strive towards having all of them. Okay. So that is it for the video, guys, and hope you liked it. And if you like it, if you like what I have just said, so please like the video and comment, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll come back to you probably with another interesting topic. And yeah, till then, stay tuned, and then keep rewatching my previous videos. And thank you so much. See you.